Gamecock fans, welcome into the 2021 spring football season preview. I'm John McAfoose, very happy to be joined by head coach Chris Hatcher. And Coach, I know it's been a long road back to football, but it's got to feel good to know that the season is here and your first game is right around the corner.
We're excited about it, especially our players. You know, they've had a lot of practice, a lot of uncertainty throughout this entire time, and now to see the reality of a season actually getting ready to take place, spirits are high. And we're looking forward to playing this inaugural and hopefully final spring football season.
Well, let's start on the defensive side of the ball, and you've got a new coordinator there in Nick Benedetto. He comes from the Division II level. He spent the last 3 seasons at the University of Sioux Falls. Talk a little bit about what he has brought to the defense.
We've been very pleased with the performance of our defense thus far. We're very multiple on defense. I think he's done a good job of, deciphering who can play what. Here in a very short period of time, and he's joined, got a fairly new staff over there as well. I think the pandemic actually helped them. They got a little more time to evaluate, a little more time to install, but right now I think our defense, more so than anything, they look like they're having a good time. They're flying around and playing with great energy, and that's where it all starts.
Well, when you look at the secondary, you do lose Nick Barton, but a lot of key returners in that area. When you look at the front seven, the defensive line and the linebackers, you do have a first-team preseason All-SoCon player returning in Armand Lloyd. You also have Nathan East, but a lot of losses in that area too. Guys like Jalen Nash, John Staten, Justin Foster, Brett Granger have all moved on from the program. Talk about filling some of those roles.
Well, I think at any position for all teams this spring, depth's going to be a huge issue. Due to guys that have left early and not been able to replace them going into this spring season. But we are going to be young at spots. We do got some really good players coming back that you just mentioned. You throw Cottrell Player and Ty Herring, Josh Carter, both have logged a bunch of snaps in the back end for us. But a few young guys I've been really pleased with. J.T. May's been playing well at defensive end, a freshman from up in Tennessee. Cortland Marsh, quarterback from old Devlin Duck Hodges School, Mortimer, Jordan, has settled in at the safety spot. Noah Martin has replaced Staten there. He's a true freshman. Also another player from Tennessee who is kind of really playing well at the middle linebacker position. And then I think the biggest surprise coming on here late is Jacob Peters from up in the Muscle Shoals area. He's moved up to the number 2 guy at corner on the depth chart as a true freshman. So we got some talented guys, not a lot of experience at some of those positions. But again, they're fun to watch now, and I think they're going to be fun to watch in the future as well.
And offensively, you've got a new coordinator on that side of the ball too, and it's kind of been musical chairs a little bit in that offensive coordinator position. You had Derek Sherman promoted to that role, but he recently left to go to Georgia Southern. So now Mitch Stewart, who came in as the wide receivers coach, will slide into that OC role.
Well, it has been musical chairs. At the end of last season, which seems so long ago, Russ Callaway took a job at LSU, so we're happy for him. Then Derek Sherman moved up, and he just left a couple weeks ago. But fortunately for us, Mitch Stewart was on the staff, the former head coach at Murray State, my offensive coordinator for 4 years at Murray State as well. So we're familiar with one another. He'll assume those duties. We work really well together, and we're excited about him joining the staff in another role.
Well, I know you're probably tired of being asked about it, but I got to ask about the quarterback battle. Of course, last year you rotated a lot between Liam Welch and Chris Oladokin, and I know you're looking for consistency. So what have you seen out of those two guys so far in camp?
Well, again, I think we're playing at a much higher level, from a talent standpoint. But again, it's it's up and down on who. One morning I'll wake up, we ought to start this guy, and the next morning it'll be the other guy. But we are fortunate. We have 2 good quarterbacks that I believe are much better than they were last season, have a much better command of the offense. Both of them are similar, but yet both of them are very different in what they do. And, we're in a COVID year. Anything can happen on with the testing and contact tracing. So if there's ever a time to have 2 good quarterbacks, the time is now. And I've been really pleased with both of them. Brought them in, early in the week. And, if one of you doesn't have a stellar day over the other guy, we'll just have to flip a coin, see who goes out there and takes the first snap. So we shall see what happens come Saturday.
Well, let's talk about the guys that protect those quarterbacks, the offensive line. You do bring the right side back with Mike Williams and Gavin Orr, but Nate Lee, Nick Nixon, and Brendan Loftus have all graduated and moved on from the program. So you've got to find a way to replace 3 starters on the offensive line.
Well, that's probably the biggest question that we have going in to this spring season offensively. We're going to be young, and you mentioned our right side with Mike Williams and Gavin. Both of those have logged a lot of snaps for us. Right now, Bo Myers is our starting center. Kind of musical chairs over there at left tackle. Austin Geis, and then Donnie Hawkins, a true freshman from Pinson Valley, has played well. And then Jabari Brooks and Cooper Frazier, two freshmen. Cooper's from Mississippi. His brother's a former quarterback of mine, and Jabari is from right outside my hometown of Macon. So both of those guys have been logging a lot of snaps with the ones, as well as some other guys. But I say that because I thought we had a really good recruiting class, and it's starting to show now. So I'm pleased with the progress of our young players, but they're going to have to go out there, and we're going to throw them to the fire and see what they can do game one.
Well, when you look at some of the other skill positions on offense, you've got a lot of young talent. You lose a couple of veterans, guys like Chris Schelling and Robert Adams, but you've got a guy like Michael Weiss. You've got Jay Stanton at running back. You've got A.J. Toney, who did some nice things. And, of course, that wide receiver group is led by Montrell Washington, who is not just a great receiver, but an All-American returner as well in special teams.
The big thing with Montrell is we just got to find a way to get him touches more than we did last year. I thought we did a poor job of that, and that's my fault. So that's been a premium headed into this season. You got Jai Kramer coming back. Chandler Smith has been playing extremely well. A.J. Toney, has had a good spring as well. Kendall Watson's back. So we got a bunch of guys that are playing well. I tell you, so far, Ty King is a guy that's really been playing well, throughout the course of this spring camp, if you will. And then at running back, Jaquette Giles. Our first scrimmage had a really good day. So there's a lot of guys to work with. The hardest decision that Coach Stewart and I have made is where do they all fit? How do we get our best five on the field? So we've been playing with that a little bit more than we like to, but we missed a lot of reps with those guys in the fall season due to contact tracing, so we're trying to catch up.
How have you guys as a staff handled the challenges that have come with COVID? Because we've already seen how it's impacted other sports with teams losing games. And obviously with a football roster being so large, it can be hard to keep it out of your program altogether.
Well, I think first of all, you got to give Will Word, our head athletic trainer, and James Carlson, our equipment manager, and then Steve Adams and Sam Fleming, our administrative guys, along with the rest of the staff. But those guys have spearheaded it, come up with a great plan. We meet in the locker room, we meet in the weight room. When we have a team meeting, most of the time it's out on the football field. So you've had to find a way to make it work with such a large group. And our players have adhered to the standards for the most part. We all need reminders every now and then, but again, they're all in good spirits, and those guys feel really good about the protocols we have in place, and that's what matters most.
Coach, appreciate your time. Looking forward to getting it started.
Well, it sounds good. It'll be here before we know it. Thanks for all you do. I know this spring's going to be busy for you as well.
Certainly going to be busy for everyone around here, but I know we're all looking forward to it. That's head coach Chris Hatcher. I'm John McAfee. Samford football will open its season this Saturday when they travel to ETSU. That'll do it for your spring 2021 Samford football season preview.
Ready to go.